Hey, loves. So, I wanted to talk a little bit today about anxiety. If you suffer with anxiety, first and foremost, I want you to understand that anxiety is a learned behavior. Okay. Anxiety is something you either have seen someone, maybe family members around you when you were at a young age or in a very susceptible state, and they suffered with anxiety and you learn those behaviors. It also is a learned behavior if you experience something where you sort of felt out of control, you got into that fight or flight mode, and ultimately anxiety developed. And now every time you have an experience that's similar to that, you've made that association with the experience and having the feelings of anxiety. But one of the important things I want to share with you is that you shouldn't ignore your anxiety, because anxiety is a message to you. And this could be several messages. Two key ones I want to talk about right now is one, it could be a message to you that your life is misaligned. If you are operating in a way that is not meant for you, not healthy for you, not the path you're supposed to be taking. This could present itself in work, if you're working a job or in a role, or maybe you're in school and you have a degree in something that you're not meant to be doing. You can get anxiety. You could be misaligned, and that anxiety is telling you that. It could be maybe you're drinking too much and you're getting anxiety all the time, and your body's trying to tell you, hey, we shouldn't be drinking too much. Maybe you're hanging out with the wrong people, right? Maybe you're not putting boundaries in the right places with people around you and you develop anxiety. Maybe you're in a relationship you shouldn't be and you develop anxiety. Anxiety can be a message to you that you're misaligned. So it's very important to pay attention to what your anxiety is telling you. Now, another example of what anxiety could be telling you is it could give you key things like telling you about what you're fearing, right? We wrap anxiety up in this one little nice little box that's like, I have anxiety. But if you really sit down and break out the areas in which anxiety comes about, you can find key messages to what you're actually anxious about or what you are actually fearing. And when you can work through the fears of those individual things, that holistic thing that you're just calling anxiety just gets small. That big, whatever, I always call it, like the big red bubble or the big red block, that just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So a couple examples of that is if you get anxiety trying to decide something, right? You could have a fear of decision making. That's also a learned behavior, right? You fear making the wrong decision. Maybe you learned at a young age, don't make the wrong decision, always think things through, etc. And that might have resulted in you having this fear that if you choose something, it could be the wrong choice, and that's a bad thing. Okay. Another example is the fear of the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what the consequences of something are going to be. That is a fear of that. Now, you're just wrapping it up under anxiety, but if you know that fear, then you can start to work on that fear itself, that narrow down, okay, I have a fear of the unknown. Let me see where this came from. Let me figure out how I can do small steps to make unknown things or uncomfortable things more comfortable. Maybe you have a fear of being alone, and so every time you're alone, you get anxious. So again, my point is that your anxiety is telling you something. It's a message to you, okay? So very, very, very important to not just loop up your feelings as I have anxiety. First of all, I have an anxious feeling, okay? You have feelings of anxiety. Second of all, what is your anxiety telling you? Comment below if you have experienced this before, or comment below if you can sit down with yourself and think about what your anxiety is telling you.